Hi, my name is Antonia Andrade. I'm an OTHA.
My name is Cara. I am an OTHA, and we're going to be talking about the Rood approach. So the Rood approach is a technique, a treatment technique for neuromuscular dysfunction, and it was created by Rood. And this is a treatment that controls sensory stimulation during facilitation and inhibition of movements.
It's also a sensory input for normalizing muscle tone to attain a muscular response. It's also a great way for repetition of movement for learning purposes. And the treatment begins at the developmental stage of functioning.
So the diagnosis that we chose to focus this on was cerebral palsy, and we chose this because Margaret Rood stated that this was her focus when using her treatments because of the muscle rigidity and spasticity.
There are two types of techniques. There is felicitation and inhibition. I will be performing the felicitation techniques, and that includes stroking, icing, brushing, and joint compression. For the felicitation technique, I will be using my fingertips. You could apply anything from a brush to a Q-tip, but being that I have my fingertips, I'm going to stroke her nose 3 times, and that helps activate muscle stimulation. Also make sure to rest for 30 seconds to avoid overstimulation. The second technique will be brushing. Same thing. So you're applying sensory stimulation. So you will be brushing 3 to 4 times, resting again for 30 seconds. The third technique is icing. So you could use an ice pack, wrap it with a towel, and in this case you're going to want to use another towel which is water blotted for texture purposes. And what you're doing is the same thing. It's repetition of movement. So you're using the ice pack on this hand and the water blotted towel on this side, and you're going to be moving it towards the direction of the muscle. Excuse me. Again, for sensory stimulation.
So the next part is the inhibition, which can include the gentle stroking. It can include the rocking of the body. It can be the slow rolling of the body, and the slow stroking using the fingers for deep pressure. So for the gentle shaking, the client will lie down supine. So with this technique, the therapist will be behind the client with one hand under her neck and one hand on her forehead for support, and then it will just be the slow rotation of the head. And then this is also the gentle joint compression, as the neck and the head is in that gentle circumduction. It will help with the inhibition. So the next one that there is the slow stroking. So the client will roll over to prone position, yes. And so once the client is in this position, the therapist will be above and behind, and this can be done with your fingertips, and apply that deep pressure for the posterior side, and this should only last 3 minutes. And another important thing about this approach is positioning, especially for our diagnosis with cerebral palsy, because the positioning is important, especially in instances where there is lessened voluntary movement. So using a mat in these kind of inhibition type exercises like the slow stroking and the gentle shaking, that would help with the positioning.
Even a therapy ball, because a therapy ball, when you're sitting on it, you're stabilizing for positioning and for posture control, especially with someone with CP.
And
That's it.
That's our presentation on the Rood's approach. Thank you.